first of all, Wadhwani Foundation for this amazing opportunity. I think everybody who is on this webinar, you must realize, first of all, that all of you are in with good luck, right? Because you have people who are thinking about you by conducting these sessions, by bringing these sessions to you. So I think it's an amazing opportunity. It's an amazing platform for each one of you. So first of all, if there is any iota of doubt in your mind that the luck is not on your side, push it away, because you are lucky, right? Because you are in good hands. You are in hands of Wadhwani Foundation, who is taking care of you by every possible means. And phenomenal, I must say. Ms. Kulkarni is also here. Shrang, you guys on the forum that you have just launched, I think that is phenomenal. You really, just think of it, the magnitude of it, that somebody sitting in Philippines is talking to somebody sitting in Spain or somebody sitting in Bangladesh and exploring an opportunity. So let's say the burning topic today is artificial intelligence. How is artificial intelligence? What's the wave in Bangladesh? How is it trending, let's say in Bhutan, or how is it trending somewhere in Malaysia? I think through this forum, you will be able to break all these barriers and you can actually get wealth of knowledge from across the globe. So I think it's brilliant. If I'm given a chance, I would love to be part of forum and like to contribute and take away a lot of learnings from there for sure. Great. So coming
Absolutely.
back, thank you, Shrang. Coming back to me, I think Shrang has been a lot more generous in talking about this. I'm not what he has said. I would rather put myself in 3 simple words. And the 3 things that I define myself is I'm a corporate professional, an endurance athlete, and an artist. And all 3 of them are by choice. So nothing is forced. So nobody pushed me into corporate, nobody pushed me into endurance, and nobody pushed me in being a theater artist. So all these 3 are something that I do by choice. If I talk about my endurance journey, I have the longest that I have run so far is 100 miles. That translates to about 161 kilometers in close to 27 hours straight. In terms of cycling, the longest that I have done in one go is 600 kilometers, which I finished in about 38 straight hours. So yeah, I've been trying to work on my fitness with my growing age. And when it comes to my passion, which is being a theater artist, how do we actually understand failure? More often than not, I would say, if we have not been selected anywhere, if we have not been able to crack an interview, if we have not been able to clear an examination, we say that we have failed. But honestly, if you ask me, failure is a much, much bigger word. Much, much bigger word. It is what you have not, let's say if you have been rejected, you have not failed. It's just that you have not cut through the selection criteria. But you haven't failed. You fail when you stop trying, right? So failure is such a big word. Now, this brings me to a very important aspect, that then if I have not been selected, where am I? What has happened to me? You are disappointed, right? And that's the big difference between failure versus disappointment versus not being successful. And these 3 are very, very different things, right? When you say that you have not succeeded, it only means that there was a certain opportunity which you have not been able to crack. But you haven't failed. You fail when you stop trying. When you say now, okay, I have given enough interviews, I am not going to go and give any other interview. That is when you have failed, because you are not giving yourself a fair chance to go walk up again and take that opportunity. Because opportunity is not going to come to you every time, right? Nobody is going to select you if you don't give an interview. You have to give an interview. So you will fail in your career or in your endeavors only when you stop trying. Till the time you are trying, it is only either disappointment or you have not succeeded. You have not lived up to the expectations that you set up for yourself. So I would say be very mindful when you say that you have failed, because failure is a very, very big word. It's a big word, right? We should be extremely cautious in using this word. And I think as a human being, till the time we have hope, the failure can never come to you. Because even if there is a one, and Virat Kohli recently said this, which is trending all over, I would like to repeat him, that even if there is a 1% chance, it is worth a try. And if you take that 1% chance, then you are not a failure. You might be disappointed, of course. Means when you look at the recently concluded IPL, the RCB from the bottom of the table with that 1% slim chance made it to the playoffs. Obviously, they cannot go beyond. They could not go beyond. So they are disappointed. But have they failed? No, they haven't, because they were number 4 in the league of 10, right? They were 60% ahead of other competitors. So they have not failed. Of course, they will be disappointed. They have not succeeded because they have not won the IPL. They were not the top team there, but they were better than the 60% of the team. So I think, Shrang, this is the key here is that before we accept that there is a failure, you should accept that you don't have any hope. Even if there is a little hope that you have in your heart or in your mind, you have not failed. There is all the more reasons for you to go and crack the next interview by doing things properly. That's my take on failure, Shrang. Feedback across things that we do is very, very important. But how can we take it is a question. And if you potentially ask the right question, that, a lot of time it so happens that we appear for an interview or we apply for a role, we get the result a bit later, when you are not there in front of the employer. Now, and there are many employers who will not even come back and tell you that you have not been selected, right? And this is a personal problem that I have always faced, right? During my corporate journey, I have given many interviews. I was not selected at many places. And I kept wondering that, am I getting selected or am I not getting selected? Is somebody else getting the role or I'm getting the role? Because most of the employers or hiring managers have this habit of not coming back and telling the candidate whether they have been successful or not, or whether they have hired the candidate or not. Now that effectively puts the feedback in question, because if somebody is not coming and telling you, whom do you go and ask, right? And immediately once you have appeared for your interview, you cannot ask, right, whether I am selected or not, because they are obviously in the process of evaluating. So it effectively rules out the active feedback scenario. You really cannot get an active feedback, which is hearing right away from the hiring manager or the recruiter that why you have not been hired. Now, in that case, the alternative that we have as people seeking employment is we look at passive feedback, right? Over a period of time, you will be able to realize that who has been hired for that role if you have not been hired. Today, social media is so powerful that you can search for anybody and everybody under the sky, right? Now, once you do that, you may be knowing that person, you may not be knowing that person, but when you do that research in terms of who has got hired, what were his specific skill sets, what were the courses, what were the certifications that he has done, and relate it back to the job description that was there. Now, once you do that, you will be able to get a good feedback about how and why you have not been selected, right? So if you can get an active feedback, which is very, very difficult, it is the best thing. But I would say resort to passive feedback, because this definitely helps. This helps you evaluate yourself vis-a-vis the competition, vis-a-vis people who have got selected. It will help you score yourself on each of the skill set that was required, if you are being honest to yourself. And we'll talk about this when we talk about the mantra for decoding failure, right? That how do you really evaluate yourself? So that is very important. And to do that, you have to draw a comparison. You have to draw a comparison with people, with a person who has got selected, right? So passive feedback has worked for me, right? Many a times when I have not been selected for a specific role and I get to know that an XYZ person has been selected, I will go on LinkedIn, search for that person's profile, have a look at his credentials, have a look at the work that he or she has been doing in his or her previous roles. And then I can really make out, okay, this is where this person had an edge over me, because this is something that I haven't done as yet in my career. And this role demanded this kind of work ethics. So potentially this explains why I was not preferred over that other person and why that other person was given preference over me. So and then it helps, because one, it takes away this pain of getting rejected, because I know the reason why I have been rejected, because I knew that I was lacking in one or two attributes that other person was far ahead, and which were the cornerstone of the role that I applied for. So it all circles back to the same things, and it circles back to the understanding of that role. It circles back to what the recruiter wants to hire, who the recruiter wants to hire in terms of skill set. I think before we go to the mantra in terms of how can we really embrace failure and how can we take it and convert this into an opportunity, I would rather spend a couple of minutes in talking this brilliant, I would say, brilliant history of ours from the scriptures, where there is this very important incident that takes place in Treta Yuga, right? And when we call about Treta Yuga, it's the Yuga where Ramayana happened, for everybody's information if you're not aware of. So our universe or our age has been divided into four aspects: Satyug, Treta Yuga, Dwapar Yuga, and Kali Yuga. We are currently part of Kali Yuga. I think all of us know that Ravan, by deception, took Mata Sita away when they were in exile for 14 years because of Raja Dashrath's promises that he has given to his wife. And then Lord Ram goes over to Lanka, fights Ravan and brings Mata Sita back. But there's a very important incident that takes place, which usually does not get much attention, which is the search of Mata Sita, right? Now, because we were a vast country, we are still a vast country, right? And Ayodhya, when you look at it, is sitting somewhere in UP, right? From there, Lord Ram, Sita, and Lakshman started traveling, and they went towards the western side of the country, towards the southern side of the country. They were moving towards the central India. Now, from somewhere, a person has come, which is Ravan, and he takes Mata Sita away. Now, where do they search? Right? Now, when Sugriv comes, Lord Hanuman comes, everybody comes together. They do one thing, is that they divide their team into four, and each team goes into one direction. Like one team takes north, one team takes south, one team takes east, and one team takes west. Now, think of it. Mata Sita can only be in one direction. She cannot be in all directions, right? Which means that three of the teams were destined to fail, because they will not find Mata Sita. There was only one team which will be successful out of four, and that everybody knows, right? All the people who are going out in that search are very well aware that only one team will come back successful. The other three will fail, right? But none of them believe that they can fail, because they had that little hope, as I said, that they will find Mata Sita, which means they did all the effort that was possible in each direction to find Mata Sita. Of course, they came back with disappointment, but not failure, because they were hopeful of finding Mata Sita, right? So that's such a big lesson. That's such a big lesson, because each team only had 25% chance of being successful, 75% chance of not being successful, right? They still took that plunge. They still went ahead with that intensity, with complete rigor, to go and find Sita, knowing that there are 75% chances that they will fail, they still did it, right? That's such a great learning, right? Moving on from there, I'll take another aspect of this whole search. Now, there's a team that reaches the southern coast of India. And then through Jatayu, they get to know that Mata Sita is in Ravan's captivity across the ocean in Lanka. Right? Now, who will go? Who will cross the ocean and go? You can't cross it by a boat, right? And there were no ships. So there were multiple people who were capable of crossing that river, or crossing that ocean rather, not river. Lord Hanuman was one. Angad was a very powerful prince. He could go. He only had one issue, that he can cross, but he was not sure how will he come back with Mata Sita, right? Nal and Neel, the two engineer runners who eventually built that whole Ram Setu for the Sena or the contingent or the army to cross from Kanyakumari to Lanka. So there were so many people. But out of that, who was given the opportunity? Only one person. And because his capabilities for that particular search were far more as compared to anybody else. And I'll tell you why. See, Hanuman was smart. He had obviously multiple powers. He could disguise himself. He could hide himself. So the chances of him getting caught were very less. And at that point in time, because only information was required about where Mata Sita is, how is she good or not, is she fine or not, was required, which Hanuman could have done in the quickest possible time. Eventually, when it came to the aspect of trying to convince Ravan to not fight and hand over Mata Sita, Hanuman was not given a chance. It was Angad who was given a chance, because he was politically much more trained. He was a crown prince. He knew how to talk tactfully, because that was the need of that hour. Now you can question, why wasn't Hanuman sent then also? He wasn't sent because Angad was a better choice to go and negotiate, because he has learned the Rajdhar. He understands tactics. So this again, circle back to that shoe thing, right, Shrang? That there are instances, there are jobs where a specific skill set is required. So no matter how good you are, but if there is somebody who has that specific skill set in which he or she excels than you, they will get selected. So these are some very important learnings. And of course, there are more. In the interest of time, I'll keep it to these two learnings, which is one, obviously, even if you have a 25% chance, you still go with full vigor, right? And if you're going for an interview, have a 100% chance. Why do you think that you have a 0% chance or a 1% chance? You have a 100% chance. There are people who went with 25% chance and they came successful. That's one. Second, always remember that every role demands specific skill set, right? And if there is somebody who is better than you at that skill set, he or she will be hired, and you will be hired for a skill set that you have. If we were to put all of this together, right, what we have been talking for last 20 minutes, I would summarize it by putting this in 3 rules, as I will call it, in terms of decoding or embracing failure and turning rejection into an opportunity. And the first of this is you have to be your own critic, right? Which is rule number 1. Now, when I say this, that you have to be your own critic, friends, understand that if somebody else tells me bad about me, right? If today Shrang was to come and tell me, Sumit, you're not doing this good, I would be like, why is Shrang telling me this, right? Because he isn't good either. So who is he to tell me, right? Because that's how our mind is wired. That's how we work. Because it's very difficult for us as human beings to take negative feedback. Now, if we can't take an honest negative feedback from our friends and family, who do we take it from? We take it from ourselves, right? You have to be your best critic, because you don't have to go and tell this to anyone. You are the best person who knows how you performed in that interview, right? I'll give you another example. During my exams as a kid, when I was a kid, I will always come back after writing my exam and tell my parents that no, exam was very good. I have done brilliantly, and inside I knew that I have done one or two questions wrong, right? But I would still be like, "Okay, who will take these scoldings now? I would rather wait for the results to come and then take it in one go. It took, why to take this scolding in every news every time I come with a paper?" So the point here is that we are honest to ourselves, right? And we have to be honest to ourselves, which means if you can criticize yourself, if you can evaluate your performance in a written examination or an interview or a group discussion or any of the hiring methods that you have been part of, you will know where you lack. And if you know where you lack clearly, you have a clear action plan in front of you, because that is where you have to work. If something is weak, you have to work on it to turn it into your strength. And that's how your disappointment would become your success story. So that's rule number 1. Be your best critic. Rule number 2 is remember that 3 teams in the search of Mata Sita were destined to fail. But everyone, when they came back to Sugriv and Lord Ram, were holding their heads high because they made an effort which they were proud of. They could come back and say, "We have searched this direction thoroughly, and we can assure you that Mata Sita is not there," right? So of course, they were disappointed. Their heads were down because they were disappointed, but their chest was swollen with pride because they made a good effort. And I think that is what each one of us should do when we walk out of any test, which could be a written test, which could be an interview, which could be a GD. You should make an effort that you are proud of, where you know that you have given your 100%, you were at your best, and you have not failed yourself. Because if you know that you have not given your 100% effort, then you have already written that you are not going to be successful. Because there are all those other people who are going to make 100 or even better than 100% effort. So if your effort is something which you are not proud of, then you are destined to not be successful. So that's the second rule, right? First, be your critic. Second, make an effort that you will be proud of. Sorry. And third, and more important, and I would say the most important, remember who you are, right? Who you are. You are unique. There is no one on this planet who comes even close to who you are. What I am is what I am. What shrunk is. Nobody can be shrunk, right? Like nobody can be Sumeit Guptaa, or nobody can be any one of you. So you are unique. You have skill sets that nobody has, right? You just need to realize your potential and look for an opportunity where your strengths lie, right? Now, Virat Kohli, let's take, we've been talking about Virat Kohli. Let's talk about Sachin. Let's talk about any sports person. Let's talk about anybody, any famous personality that you know. They have been really amazingly successful in whatever they are doing today. Does that mean that they have been successful at other places also? No, they aren't, right? So, which obviously brings us back to that first thing, that there is not even one thing that's common across all the dishes, right? So there cannot be one person who can be successful at everything, right? So, but you are unique. You have specific skill sets that are going to land you into a fantastic opportunity that is tailor-made for you. You just have to wait for that opportunity to come and identify that opportunity. That's more important. How do you do that? You do that by being your own critic, by making an effort, by taking passive feedback. And when you combine all these three things, right? You will get a mantra which effectively can convert or take you from disappointment to success, and which, simply put, is CPU, which is, now this again is a central processing unit. If you look at it, it's the control center or the brain of computer. We also know how important the brain is in human body. So if you have this mantra of CPU, which is being a critic, making an effort that you are proud of, and remembering always that you are unique, you are destined to succeed, because you will go and find the best opportunity that is made for you. So that is how I look at it, Shrang, in terms of converting my disappointments into opportunities. All of you guys are in luck. You are blessed, because there are people who are trying to give you and get you ready for any big opportunity that comes your way, or even a small opportunity. So I think take good cognizance of it. Be mindful of what you are getting into, what you have. Count your blessings, as they say, and go with that mindset that things are working out for you. The universe is conspiring to make you successful. Only if you believe that you are going to be successful, right? So keep that little hope burning inside your heart and inside your mind, which tells you that you are going to be successful and you're going to crack the best opportunity that's coming your way. I think that is how what I would like to conclude, Shrang. Keep that hope alive.